My name is Alan Marco. I'm running for the office for mayor for the city of Nekoosa. It was a position that I held from 2012 until 2018. Previous to that, I had been on the city council as a first ward alderman from about the mid-90s until 2010. So I've got the experience and the background to continue hopefully into this position.
Hi, this is Dan Carlson. I'm running for mayor of Nekoosa, actually running for re-election. Been the mayor of Nekoosa the last 4 years, looking to continue that. Been a longtime resident of the city of Nekoosa, own a business as well in the city, raised my family here, and just really passionate about the city. Well, one of the main things I'd like to do, especially from some events in the past, recent past, is to try and engage the citizens of Nekoosa to participate more in city government. The ways I would accomplish that is we've been looking at improving our city webpage to better inform people of, for instance, the monthly police reports, the public works monthly reports. Sometimes you get people that wonder why do we have so many people working for the city? Are the police really doing anything? I would encourage them to seek out those reports. Also, I know the police department would probably be able to facilitate a ride-along if you want to know what goes on. That's a really good way to find out what happens in the city. That way, people have a buy-in in what's going on, and it's not always. It doesn't always revolve around a hot-button issue. I think people really need to stay informed. That way, when opportunities are available for them to participate, they have a better idea of what to do.
Going around and talking to people, one of the biggest issues that's happening in the city is the lack of communication between the city government and the citizens, and also I think there's a little bit of lack of communication between the departments and the council as far as improving that communication with the residents. We used to do a newsletter. That hasn't been done in a few years. Granted, it was only usually just a one-time newsletter that came out in the fall. I would like to see that maybe bumped up to a spring and a fall newsletter to include things that are happening in the community and things that the citizens need to be aware of. And also I'd like to see the city's website updated. It's not necessarily a high-quality website. I would like to see that updated where the department heads and the mayor would have the ability to post updates and things like that, not necessarily relying on Facebook or other things, but actually have the official city website be a good source of communication for the citizens. Part of that, I think, will happen here with the expansion of the housing development that's just starting. That's still going to take a couple years to be completed. I was talking to the public works director this morning. They're looking at getting the infrastructure started this fall, hopefully start building the actual structures next summer or spring to bring in some more housing availability to get some workers into the community. And then there's a few years back we did a survey to see about getting a hotel into the city, and that was a favorable report, and I would like to see that pursued. We need to find a piece of property, and I've got a couple of them in mind to have the city acquire to use that as maybe an incentive to get a developer to come in and possibly get a hotel in the community. Like I said, when we did the study, there was more than enough interest and usage in events in the area that would warrant and necessitate a hotel for the city.
Well, I think part of that is just to get our name out there, promote Nekoosa, highlight our strong points. We have a great natural resource with the river, a lot of agricultural business, the paper mill, and then its associated businesses as well, like the Nekoosa Coated Products. There are plenty of opportunities. I know when we first started the business park, we did a lot of advertising, promotion type stuff. I think maybe we should take a look at maybe coming back to that, promoting the city and the fact that it's an opportunity zone, which is very tax beneficial to investors. Those are just a few things that I think would help Nekoosa. Well, it's a good question because actually we have a meeting scheduled the first Tuesday in April as a committee of the whole, where we're going to be discussing how we might spend those funds. Nekoosa is getting approximately $250,000 in 2 payments, whether it be spent on infrastructure, maybe some amenities. That would be something that would be great to hear from the citizens, just to find out where they think that money would be best spent.
I know last year when this was discussed, the city had recommended using some of it to replace some of the service lines for the city residents that might have lead lines coming in, to replace that. I know there are restrictions as far as what that can be used. I don't know specifics on what those are. But the other thing that is starting to hit this area is the PFAS in the water systems. I think it's something that the city should be testing for, and if they're found over the limit or close to the limit, take some of that money and put it in as a treatment process. The city right now is in the process of refurbishing 2 of the wells over the next 6 months to increase the pumping capacity. So that would be a good time to do that project, whether it be just the testing, or if need be, then put the treatment facility in there with it. So.
Well, I think it's important for myself as the mayor of Nekoosa to rely on our department heads to prioritize what they feel is best for each department. For instance, Public Works, you always have to look out for your roads. There are plenty of roads in Nekoosa that need some attention, and also our underground, the infrastructure, the water sewer plant, those kind of things. In addition to that, you have to look at public safety, making sure that the city is safe. People in Nekoosa need to know that if they are having problems, that someone's going to be there to help, whether it be police or the ambulance or other services.
I think it needs to go back to the thought process of what we need to do, not what we want to do. Last year there was a remodel done to the safety center, the municipal building, to the tune of $130,000 roughly. That was, my opinion, a big waste. Part of it did need to be done, but to tear out some parking stalls because they thought we didn't need them anymore, that money could have been used someplace else. And I think it comes down to just being more diligent as far as where the money goes and what it's used for. And with the housing development that's being proposed or being developed, hopefully that would bring in more revenue, but that's still going to be 3-4 years down the road yet before we would actually see any revenue coming into the city. So. Like I stated in my opening statement, I've got the background, the knowledge. We need to get back working with other municipalities. There's been a big drop off in that in the last few years. We need to get better with working with the businesses. Domtar is the big employer in the city. We need to get a better working relationship with them. And I think I've got the contacts yet that I had before, and I've got the background and the knowledge as far as what needs to be done and get things back operating the way they should be.
Well, I'd ask for your vote because I think that I've done a good job in the last 2 terms. These last 2 years, unfortunately, with COVID, have kind of hamstrung us as far as getting a lot done. And I think these next couple years are very important because we do have a lot of projects that are in the works that are coming up. We have a housing development that is taking off soon, and we're looking at funding a shelter house for the Little League complex, and there are other things that I would like to accomplish to make sure that the city of Nekoosa moves forward and continues to be a great place to live.